In today's video, I just want to touch on a subject that I feel, maybe not everyone that's lived this really needs to hear. Maybe this video can be used for people that don't really understand the situation too well. But I had a conversation with some family. I was at my wife's aunt and uncle's house, her Theo and Thea's house, after we did like treat or trunk or whatever it's called at one of the high schools that her cousin works at. We went back to their house. We had some food and just having conversation. And a good friend of their family's is dealing with addiction to heroin, and they reached out to me through them, asking me to contact him directly, the one that had the issue, without him really wanting to talk to me at all. He's been through withdrawal a bunch of times and doesn't want to speak to someone like me, and I understand that. So I don't push that at all. But during this conversation of them giving me his information and explaining how he doesn't want to talk to anybody, they were asking me questions because they don't understand the mentality and why people cannot move forward, or why they're chronic relapsers, or why they get stuck in this type of lifestyle. And when you're talking with other people who have lived it, it's different. Because you understand things. There's a lot of stuff you don't even have to even say. But when there's people that don't understand it, there's a lot of fillers you have to explain, a lot of backstories, and a lot of there's just a lot they just don't get. And I was realizing during the conversation that what many people who do not experience this don't understand is that they think it's pretty much physical. They understand that you get physically addicted to the medication. They understand that you're going to have the withdrawal symptoms. You're going to feel ill. You're going to have the flu times 100, like I say all the time. What they don't really grasp is not even just the mental aspect of the depression, the anxiety, and the irritability, and all that other stuff. It is what you have to deal with in your lifestyle with having these problems. And what I mean by that is, one of the hardest parts about not just getting clean, but staying clean, is the fact that you're doing it, in most cases, I could totally attest for this. When I was going through it, I had completely destroyed my life. Okay? I was at my wit's end. I had completely destroyed my life financially. I destroyed all the friendships I had. I ran my life into the ground. So when you have to get through the physical pain, you have to get through the mental aspect, then you're dealing with the worst depression you've ever dealt with, and doing it during a time where you do not feel like you have anything to live for is one of the hardest things in the world. And I tried to explain it to him, and when I was explaining it to him, I started getting emotional. I started, because I give a lot of myself to this, but you don't fully heal a lot of the wounds that happen even though I have 7 years. You know what I mean? There's parts of the battle that you had 7 years ago that, those wounds may not fully heal forever, because you get brought right back to that situation. And there's things that, you don't share with everybody. Okay? So when you're starting to explain to them, how deep it gets and how hard it is to create a mental aspect that nothing in this world, doesn't matter how dark it gets, okay? Doesn't matter how dark the room is, how dark the light in you is at that time, nothing is going to stop you from moving forward. Because you know that even though you don't want to do it, and everything in your being is saying you're going the wrong way, the easier way is that way, you know that you have to go against that. Okay? You know that you have to build something after after being weak and tired and physically and mentally exhausted and depressed and not seeing the good in anything, you still have to trudge through that, clean up the mess that you made, and then hopefully reach a point where you'll be happy. That is the hardest part of the whole thing. Okay? That is what people don't understand. That's why people are chronic relapsers, because the depression, and then they look around at their life that they've created and they're like, shit, it's much easier to deal with the shit that I've created high than deal with it depressed. Not realizing, well, not caring that the more that you use, the shit that you've created gets worse. It's just this vicious cycle. So it is so important that people who, they get through the physical, they're facing the depression, to have as simplified a life as possible, to have as much taken off of their plate as possible, because when you have to deal with so much of life's burdens, going through this is when a lot of people break. That's just reality of it. Okay, that's just the way it is. I mean, my pile of shit that I had to deal with was huge. Okay, but I made a decision that it didn't matter. It didn't matter to me how bad everything was. It didn't matter to me how bad I felt. I felt like I deserved to feel the way I did because of all the crap that I did, and the destruction and despair that I caused. It was a rite of passage for me. I made this. I made this bed. I have to sleep in it. Okay, I knew someday that I was going to be happy again. I knew that. It's not even I knew. I chose to live a life of reason. Okay, a life that made me proud, because everything about the life I was living in that moment when I was sick as hell was so not where I wanted to be. I mean, you grow up, you think you want to be somebody. You want to, you want to be successful. You want to be happy. You want to be a firefighter, pro baseball player, whatever your dream was as a kid. You never wanted to grow up and be where I was. Okay? And see the people that love you, no matter what, look at you with pity. That feeling of they're very close to just feeling like there's nothing left in you. And for me, that drove me. Okay? That I knew a lot of people gave up on me. I knew a lot of people were talking shit. That didn't really, it drove me. But seeing the pity and the fear in my loved ones really, really got to me. So, as depressed as I was and how irritable I was and, as sick as I was, I wanted to move past it all. I wanted to get to the place where, people could be proud of me again. I want to be proud of myself. I want to be able to look at myself in the mirror. I wanted to be able to create happiness for other people. I wanted to have a family. I wanted to be able to have somewhat of a normal life. I never wanted to be normal. I never will be normal in my own mind. I'm a bit crazy, and that's fine. Most of us are. But I didn't want to live the way I was living. And if you can make up your mind that nothing in this world, nothing, the constant decision that nothing in this world is going to stop you. It doesn't matter how much it hurts. It doesn't matter how ugly it gets and how dark it may be. There's always a choice at the end of the day to keep going and fight for your life. We're only, I say it all the time, we're only here for so long. And this conversation I had at their dining room table, this shit got deep. Deeper than now. And I know I go on rants, but they were sitting there looking at me like they didn't know that's how serious this could be. They obviously understood that addiction was a big deal and people lose their lives and so on and so forth. But the amount of feeling that is involved and, you know, self-destruction that is involved, and hearing it from somebody that lived it was pretty intense for them. But they got to understand why this gentleman is dealing with what he's dealing with. Okay? So I don't want to go on too much of a rant, but the bottom line is that's what makes it so hard for so many people, is that they have to do all of this. They have to take their life back while they're cleaning up a mess of a life that they've made without feeling like there's even a reason to do it. Okay? And having to choose the fork in the road where you say, you know, this way is the easy way. It's the way that if I went back here, I'll be numb again. I won't really care about the problems that I have. The problems will keep growing, and, you know, I'll just go back to being numb and careless. Or I could go this way, fight like hell, be depressed for a while, clean up my mess, and then kick the shit out of life every day. Feel true happiness, real meaning, and not be numb, and be able to taste food and smell and, you know, see vibrant colors and listen to music and enjoy life, have longevity in your life, and just be energetic and happy. I mean, yes, it's a battle. It's a battle. There's no doubt about it. It's a true battle. But the outcome is so worth that battle. That's pretty much what I have for today. I was just thinking about it because, you know, I was talking to somebody, I guess, a little over an hour ago, and we talked about the same exact thing I'm talking about now. And, you know, her son's going through it. She's done everything for him that she can. She doesn't know what else she can do. He's been using pain pills since he was 17 for migraines, and she feels like the doctor got him hooked on morphine, and he's in and out of treatment, and she's completely lost. She doesn't know. And I had to explain to her what he's dealing with right now, and, you know, it's completely up to him what happens. I mean, there's nothing anyone can do. I mean, you can tie him up in a room for a year, and his issues will still be there. So, it's just it's a rat race to take your life back. And not everybody fully understands the hardest part about the whole thing. In my opinion, the hardest part about the whole thing is cleaning up your life, looking at a reason to keep moving forward when you feel like everything's destroyed, while being depressed, irritable, with no energy. That's the hardest part. But knowing back in the back of your head that this is what I have to do. This is what needs to be done in order for me to live a life of meaning and have, you know, a family, and not have to worry about my bank account, or, you know, look at my phone every 2 minutes to see if my dealer got back to me, or if I have to run out at 10 o'clock at night and, you know, make up a reason for why I'm going out to some store. You know, you don't have to do that anymore. You just go to bed, or lay with your kids, or, you know, watch TV, and it's just, it's tough. All right. So if you want to share your story, you can email me at ryan@compsport.com. In the subject line, put YouTube story, my story. Let me know if you want to use your first or last name or stay anonymous. That's it for today. Leave some comments, advice. Add your 2 cents to this. It was kind of broad, but I think you guys got the point of what I'm trying to say. And it's so hard to explain to people who have never had a dependency issue, especially with something as strong as opiates, and how it can control your whole life. I mean, every choice you make revolves around that. And it's very hard for people to understand that. And it's very hard to explain it. So, just wanted to touch on that. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day. And leave some comments. Thanks.